Hi friends, I hadn't planned on making another video right now, but Indian people are coming for me in my comments. And, so I know I'm on the right track with what I'm saying. But what I want to talk about in this specific video is Indian people and anti-Black racism specifically. So whether this is within the country of India, or whether this is when Indian people immigrate to any part of the world, whether it be on the African continent, in North America, South America, wherever, Indian people have, and again, I'm not saying every single Indian person, but I'm talking about Indian people generally, our society, our culture, the belief systems that Indian people hold, etc. Indian people are extremely, extremely racist, especially towards Black people. And if you take a Black person who has been around Indian people for any period of time, Black people pick up on this. It's something that is, this is not a secret. Whether you're talking to, say African students who study in India, which there are African students who are there, or whether you're talking about, say, Kenyans. There's a large population of Kenya that are Indian people that have immigrated to that country, or South Africa, or Canada, or, the United States, whatever. But Black people pick up on Indian people's racism because it is quite apparent. It's something that that is there. It's obvious. So I'm just going to give you an example of me, my family, and the Indian people in South Africa. When I grew up there, I spent the first 12 years of my life under apartheid. So we had servants, maids, cooks, gardeners, etc. And all of these people were Africans. They were Black people. And all of the Indians in South Africa had servants. Okay, they were all Black. Now, how were these servants treated? They were treated as subhuman. They were not considered to be human beings with feelings. They drank out of different cups. So Indian people would not share their table with the servants, who were an integral part of their household. They took care of their children. They drove them everywhere. They cooked for them. But they had to eat off of separate dishes. They could not sit on the furniture. They, say, for example, when we left our home and we traveled, so we lived in Pietermaritzburg, we traveled to Durban on the weekends, holidays, whatever. Our maid would come with us. She was not allowed to sleep on or sit on our furniture or sleep on our furniture, so she had to sleep on the floor. These are things that all Indian people did in South Africa. And now I'm just talking about South Africa. I'm not talking about, say, when Indian people immigrate to other countries. But this is true even in first-generation Indians. Because, say, if an Indian person had to marry a Black person, 9 times out of 10, that Indian person's family is going to completely disown the Indian person who married a Black person. Now, Indian people generally, they want Indian people to marry within their they want Indian people to marry other Indian people, and then they even go into they want, the same caste, and they even have subcastes and all of this stuff. So, but if an Indian person marries a white person, or say an Asian person, it's not considered to be as heinous of an act as if an Indian person married a Black person. So this can be tied to the caste system because, like I mentioned in my previous video, Indian people are racist towards other Indian people. And some of this is based on skin color. It's not entirely based on skin color, but there is a factor that is, that is apparent in that. So Ava DuVernay made a movie called Origin, and it's based on Isabel Wilkerson's book Caste. which somebody just pointed out, and it's very difficult for me to talk about these very heavy topics in 10 minutes. So I can't cover everything, but Indian people are inherently racist as a culture and as a society. And then within that racism, there is a hierarchy. So yes, while an Indian society might be racist towards Western people, Western culture, white people, etc., just like Vivek Ramaswamy making that comment about how, he made all these disparaging comments about, Americans. And he was talking about white Americans, how they're not as smart and blah, blah, blah. These are not uncommon things that Indian people say within themselves. I have been privy to these conversations in whether it's, say a friend situation or families or extended families or just in my Indian community. These are very common beliefs that most all Indian people will espouse. They will say things like, well, white people have no culture. Their food is horrible. They just go on and on and on. But when it comes to Black people specifically, Indian people have extremely racist views about Black people. And it doesn't matter how nice this Black person is, how educated they might be. None of those things matter. And that's why I say that a lot of Indian people, they align themselves with a very far right-wing kind of Trump ideology. So you might take somebody from, say, America who is a Trumpster, and they espouse all these very racist views. And you could take an Indian person, and in many respects, those views are going to align because Indian people generally tend to hold very racist views. It goes back to the caste system, yes, but it also ties into other aspects because, as I pointed out before, there are the so-called untouchables in India, and Indian people are racist towards them as well. So this is all a very, these are complicated things, and I'm just trying to do my best to share these ideas because we are in terrible times right now in the United States and in the world generally. So I guess Indian people, if you guys want to come for me, come for me. I am not saying anything that's untrue. This is the truth, and I think it's kind of an open secret.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're faring well where you are, and if you ain't faring well, please fare well where you are. So there's something that I want to share with you, something of great importance. I believe that if you have a relative, or if it's yourself, a son, daughter, whoever, I think this message is for you, right? We understand that we have Africans. We also have African Americans, or rather we have the African diaspora who have traveled all the way to the country of Ireland. And right now, the country of Ireland is really not at peace with immigrants, particularly Black immigrants and immigrants from Southern Asia and Southeast Asia. And so there have been threats, there have been a form of xenophobia towards people of African ancestry, towards people of South Asian and Southeast Asian ancestry. The streets are attacking these specific individuals. I've just told you so, right? And so a level of alert has been portrayed, a level of alert has been sent by the respective countries and their embassies that are found in Ireland, right? For those who don't know the country of Ireland, it's not a country that makes too much news. The capital city of Ireland is a country which is a city which is called Dublin, right? And Black people are really facing it rough and hard over there, right? And so, in this video, Black Americans, the Africans themselves, are sending warning, and they're warning Black people not to move to Ireland, or rather, those who are already there shouldn't go to certain places. Now, I want us to listen to them narrate where these places, why the violence is happening, and then I shall get back by the end of the video, where we shall also have a deep, critical analysis. Let's dive in.
Look, this video just goes out to all the African/Black people who are in Ireland, bro. And I just have one question. Why Ireland? Out of all places your parents could have decided to immigrate to, they decided to immigrate to Ireland when the UK is right there. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, England is right there, so why are you going to Ireland? Like, I'm not even trying to spread any hate to Ireland, but like, that really just makes no sense to me. I don't know if it's like easier to live in Ireland or whatever. Like, I've never actually lived there before. But why Ireland out of all places? Like, come on, bro. That's like saying, would you rather support Tottenham or like Chelsea? Do you get what I mean?
So if you're living in Ireland and you don't look ethnically Irish, you might be in trouble, because the string of attacks that are now happening to a lot of the minority population has definitely increased. Did you see this news? Did you see this news? What is going on here? This man was attacked while driving his taxi. He was basically in work, working, contributing to the economy, yet he was attacked and said, go back to your country. These people that actually commit these crimes, what actually do you want? What are you doing to contribute to the economy? What are you doing to make this country better? This is not the country I grew up in. This is not what Ireland stands for. And before you come at me and say, go back to your country, go back to your country, listen and listen well. This is my country. This is my home. And you're not going to run me out. This needs to stop. And the government needs to take a stand and do something serious about this, because there's so many attacks happening to so many minority populations. Now it seems to be focused on the Indian population. This was in the news. And then I saw something about a woman, a nurse, that was basically kidnapped by a group of boys and attacked. To anybody that feels like nobody deserves to be in this country, listen and listen good. The world is becoming multicultural. You cannot stop it. You cannot stop it. Everyone, different nationalities, different ethnicities are moving to different parts of the world. So embrace it and contribute positively to the country you're living in.
The comment section of my videos they shock me every time I post. Like, even when the video isn't directly calling out racism, I still get racist comments. Then when I reply to the racist comments with a bit of cheekiness, TikTok decides it's negative. It violates community guidelines. But the racists are allowed to comment under my TikTok videos willy-nilly, and there's no repercussions. And I'm beginning to see like it's a trend, really. I'm telling you right now for a fact, let's put it to the test. Go under one, and I can bet my life you'll see one comment, at least one, that's like a little racist. Sorry, a lot racist. Like, there's no little about this issue. I'm the type of person, I don't really give a dust. Like, I don't really care. I actually do take the piss out of them. If I'm honest, it's gotten a little crazy in the last few months. Like, it's like they're trying to come for my identity. Do you get me? I'm from foreign descent. Yeah, fair enough. But a lot of these racists don't understand there's a difference between nationality and ethnicity. When have I ever said my ethnicity is Irish? I've never said that. But one thing that's a fact and none of you can take away from me is my nationality is Irish, end of story. I'm proud to be born in the Coombe Hospital in Dublin City. Born and raised in Dublin. One of the primary schools I went to as a kid was even a Gael school. I know 1916 history like the back of my hand. And my favourite Irish mythology is Cuchulainn. Love fucking Cuchulainn. That being said, I'm also very, very grateful and very proud of the knowledge and history I know about my family's history, which is originally from Nigeria. All in all, I'm not really trying to prove anything, but I do want to let you know there's an issue. A big issue, and it's deeper than the face value. And you know what's weird? It's the older generation. It's a lot of you old 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-olds that are very sad. While your kids, your grandchildren fucking love my content. They love a bit of Izzy Boy. Your daughters love a bit of Izzy Boy. I'm sorry to tell you, I know it's shocking. But that being said, that's me done. That's the last rage I'm giving you. I'm going to keep quiet and just keep making my content.
So let me tell you guys what just happened. So I am minding my own business. I'm in Blanchardstown. I parked my car And the minute I get out, I can see that there's like a guy looking at me. So I'm starting to feel some type of way, obviously, because like why are you looking at me? Like, this guy was focusing on me so much. The minute I close my door to go shopping, he goes to me, here, is that your car? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And then he goes to me, I'm pretty sure you don't have enough money to be buying that car, do ya? And I'm like, so I'm really shocked now, as in like, this is a bit of an invasion of privacy. If I go shopping, is this guy going to try to steal my car? Like, I was having a lot of things going on through my head. And he goes to me, I bet you sell drugs or you stole that money to buy that car, didn't ya? And I am like, I work hard, but stay.
Ireland is one of the most racist places in the world. This is what this comment says here. For those that don't know, I went to Dublin on the weekend, and there's a video on my YouTube which you can watch back. From my experience, it was nothing but welcoming. I can't go by what anyone else's experiences was. And personally, I think this is something that's wrong with the world. A lot of people will go by other people's experiences with a type of people or a certain area, and then group that as all the same, and that's what it is. But people have to remember, everyone's an individual themselves, and you shouldn't just group people and say, because someone was like that or this happened for this person, that's how it is. And even if I had a negative experience,
Past 24 hours, not only have we had a racist attack outside of a mosque where a man that was carrying a knife was trying to, plunge onto people, but also a man in Adelaide that was bashed, and he happens to be of South Asian descent, being told to go back to his country. And this pertains to the increase of racially motivated violence that is currently on the rise, which should be a concern. And not only that, the way the media is currently reporting the story shows that they are downplaying it as well. Already, they've labeled what happened in Adelaide as an altercation, completely disregarding the video evidence where this man was being hurled abuse, being dehumanized by racist, verbal abuse. This is not isolated events, this is racism, and this is exactly what it looks like within our country. It's loud, it's visual, it's affecting people, and it always has. Let's be clear, violence of any form should never be tolerated in this country. It's about time that the media start reporting these events as not something that is isolated, but it is in fact the rise of hate crimes that is increasing, that is targeting marginalized communities. It's interesting that the people that will say that racism does not exist in Australia will be the ones that will dismiss and deny what is currently happening within this country and remain silent on all of these issues.
There's one thing I always tell people: East or West, home is always the best, right? So right now, you see, there's we black people, we are not accepted in many places around the world, right? A black person is always a victim to racial injustices. A black person is always a victim to what we call inequality. Any form of injustice is always, a black person is always suffering that, right? Some people have come up front, some people have discussed that it is a curse that was placed unto us by the Most High God. But no, it's not a curse, right? It's not the curse of harm, to be specific, because those who do this form of injustice, they give a reason to satisfy their actions, right? Something that there is a black American professor by the name Joy DeGray, right? Joy DeGray explains that when one person wants to do evil, their mind kind of refuses them or does not give them direct access to run the program now being racist, being selfish, being unjust, and being unequal. So they have to justify their action, or rather they have to override the thought of being equal by another thought, which is something that she calls it cognitive dissonance, right? So you find that if someone wants to commit injustice, they come and they might open the Bible, right? And they say in the book of this and that, it explains that people have to be in a certain way obedient to their masters. People have to be in a certain way listening and in a submissive position so as for you to see the kingdom of God. So they twist the Bible, they twist the already existing narrative. For this case of Ireland, it is a case whereby you find that the Irish people themselves are saying that these black immigrants, some of them being from Southeast Asia and Southern Asia, that they are causing a loss of jobs to these individuals who are the nationals and the original inhabitants. Let me call them the locals, right? They say that these immigrants are coming to steal their jobs. But that ain't true. That's a total lie. It's not true at all. And narratives are always there to satisfy a certain norm, right? For this case, it is a racist norm, right? Now, there is no justification for xenophobia because what these people are experiencing is xenophobia. And I believe African countries, the American government, the Southeast Asia government, the Southern Asian government should come forward and speak against the oppression of their own citizens in these countries. At least if it does not reduce it to zero, it will have at least pulled it downwards to a certain level. Yes. That's my thought. Maybe you may want to share your thoughts with me on what the respective government should do. I shall get back by the end of the video where we shall also have more critical analysis. Yeah, see you in the next one.